from Outlaw Yarn.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I am here in our classroom because we actually have people hard at work in every other room in the entirety of Outlaw HQ.
I know. I was Skyping with Deborah yesterday, and I saw Rory, the super skeiner.
Yes, Rory is skeining upstairs in the office. Deb is having a meeting also in the boardroom upstairs.
Yeah.
Our lovely new employee, Helen, is hard at work trying to sort out the warehouse, which you've seen our warehouse, so you know that it's a Herculean task. We decided to punish Helen for joining our team by forcing her to deal with the warehouse. No. So yes, every single space in Outlaw HQ is now occupied by staff. And as you know, I require a lot of space when I do these. So I have taken the entire classroom, which can fit like 30 people, just myself today.
Well, hello, same.
Right?
Exactly.
Exactly. Like, I don't understand. Do you ever see these people who work in like shoebox offices and you're like, what you need is a conference room to yourself?
Look, a little bit of space is always a good thing. And I've got all my stuff here that I'm quite determined. Honestly, every video it feels like I've done in the last month, I have managed to drop stuff all over the floor. Right. I have got stuff everywhere, so I'm quite determined not to have this happen today. It's, you know, it's a mission.
I brought as much stuff as I could for today. So I've got like two ongoing projects. My next project that I don't have any choice but to cast on by the end of this week. I have another project that I have to cast on today at some point that I don't know if I should show on camera because it's yarn no one can ever get. And surprise everyone, my name's Ethan. I have access to yarn most people don't. And I'm not afraid to abuse it. I've got a finished object. So yeah, let's do admin stuff up front and then get into the projects and then let people celebrate the joy of yarn, right?
Yeah, so let's get into the exciting stuff. So first off, you're going to be getting a newsletter from me this afternoon. And I'm going to talk about some yarns with that a little later on. But that will be coming out this afternoon, and in there is a tease of what we've got coming up for our epic sale. So unless you've been living under a rock, people, in the last week, you will be aware that our epic sale starts on Saturday. I am going to do a video tomorrow to actually cover off how to survive epic sale and some tips and hints. However, if you can't make that video, what I'm covering off is everything that's going to be in that newsletter this afternoon. So it's, you know, it is an important thing to do. And I think we should start with our announcement actually, because yeah, we're quite excited about this. We hatched this plan when I was down in October, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. So
no wine was involved.
We're always never. You and I drinking?
Oh, heaven forbid.
No, like, let's not give people the wrong. Everyone, we are very responsible. Yeah. We only had a bottle and a half each until we got into the gin.
That wasn't me, but anywho, we hatched this plan in October when we were there, and we were we wanted to sort of get together because one of the only times we would get to see each other is when we have markets and events. And I know, and March kind of felt a little bit weird for Deb and I not to get together because it was sort of, we always get together every March, and this March we aren't. No.
So in an apartment that we stay in.
I know. So we decided, we had a brainwave, and it all sort of came together because we had this thought, and then we had a wonderful lover of both Outlaw and Skeinz yarn contact us from Wellington and say to us, look, we'd really love you guys to come to Wellington. And we were like, actually, we really want to go to Wellington. So on at the end of this month, after I get all this epic sale hoo-ha out of the way, we are all converging. We've decided to go halvesies, meet in the middle. We are converging on Wellington for a very special Outlaw and Skeinz pop-up.
Yeah, which I think is going to be so exciting. So Deb will be coming up with all of our special yarns. You will be coming down from Skeinz.
Yep.
Many of my samples, I'm assuming, will be making their way up there. So if you don't get to see my knits in person, and you've only seen them on the Skeinz Diary or anywhere else. If I am available, I will also be coming up, but we all know that is touch and go. Just because we do have Outlaw HQ and news team members, which is really exciting, but Outlaw HQ is busy now. I don't know if you guys have been in recently, but Saturdays are kind of jam-packed from beginning till end. There's no real break, but yes. So whereabouts in Wellington are we setting up?
We are going to be at the Karori Arts Centre, which I know is, it's not quite, it's fantastic. It's a building that is purpose built for this. They've got, the facilities are outstanding, and it's so it's not far from where Zealandia is. It's in Karori. It's got we've got our own room, our own huge big conference room. It's got fantastic access. They've got parking, and it's going to be Friday, and I think it's the 20, and I haven't got a diary here. I think it's the 26th, Friday the 26th, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So those 3 days. So it's ideal. So if you're working, you've got the weekend to be there, but also too, I know in Wellington, lots of people work from home now in these few crazy times that we have. So we will be there on the Friday, and we're also, fingers crossed and COVID willing, we'll have Helene from Happy Go Nitty will be joining us as well. So
Exciting.
Yeah, it will be really, really exciting. So we can't wait for that. So you will get more information on that as the month rolls on. And obviously, in these new crazy times that we live in, things are always subject to change.
We'll be ready for it.
Yeah, and I have no idea what I'm going to be taking. It will be ostensibly what is probably some leftover bits from the sale. I know I've got some stuff that was supposed to come in for sale that is probably looking like might just miss the sale window, but I hopefully have that up. So it'll be fun. And I know that you guys have got all your fantastic Rebel yarns, so you'll be
So there will be definitely some Rebel. There may be some other exciting things. We'll just have to see how timelines work out as per usual. I mean, spoiler alert, everyone, in case you haven't noticed, Maree does occasionally see things that we're making before the rest of you. Shh, don't, it's a secret. No one's ever known this. But yes, so there will be lots of Rebel. Probably some of the samples that I'm looking at as I stare off camera like I'm some sort of wounded tortoise will be up there with you. So there are, I think my Agnes that I'm wearing at the moment, probably my chain link, and maybe something else, as long as I'm not left completely nude, will be coming up along with a selection of our Rebel yarns, which does have 24 colors. And we actually already have, you're not ready for this, we are through the skeining of 4 whole colors now, which might not sound like a lot, but is actually quite a bit of skeining for not really that much yarn. So it's come to a little bit of a hilarious point with Rebel where now I have to be warning people, like, people are like, oh, I'll come back for some. I'm like, no, that was never an option with this yarn. So I know that you'll be at the sale, firmly reminding people that they take all of it or they leave.
Yeah, and and I'm glad you brought that up, because I know even for our sale, and I'll be covering this off with my big sale video tomorrow, but we've got yarns that we have produced specifically for ranges that we've done specifically for the sale. So they will not, once they're sold out, that's it, and I actually have put out, and it's actually on if you want to see it, it's on the, actually, no, it's not. It's going out in the newsletter this afternoon. One of the points that I put there in the newsletter is planning, and I know I can see Michelle is in the chat. Michelle has posted up in our speakeasy the best post of her planning for Epic Sale. And it's just going through your queue of projects and sort of seeing roughly what you think you might want, what sort of weight you want. And it doesn't even need to be project specific, but knowing that you want to go, okay, I need stuff for baby knits, I need stuff for adult knits, I need stuff for shawl knits, I need stuff for this, and the quantities of what you need for those knits, working out what those quantities are, and then you can actually work out, so when you go to do your purchasing, you know how much you're going to need. But add, you and I talk about this all the time, add not 10%, I would be adding 20% in contingency, because once it's got, you do not want to have feathers flying when you're playing Yarn Chicken and you've run out. That is not a happy, that's not a happy place.
I have not played Yarn Chicken in nearly 10 years. because I can't be bothered. Even back when I wasn't working full-time in the industry, back when I actually used to buy yarn,
Michelle says she's such a geek. You're not a geek, Michelle. You're amongst friends, and we think you're bloody brilliant.
Yeah, no.
And I'm so thrilled you
Michelle, my
really
is 80 projects deep, and for most of them, I already own the yarn. I have the pattern printed, and the yarn and the pattern are inside of a full-size zip top bag, and it lives in bins. All of my bins are numbered, and everything is listed. The projects are numbered as well, and it's all on an Excel spreadsheet with different tabs for each bin and each project in the tab.
Yeah. So, Michelle, there's a geek, and then there's Ethan. So, trust me, I'm not quite there, but I will bag stuff up. Like, I will have bags in my stash, like with our cellophane bags, and often with a Sharpie, I'll have written on it either ideas of things that I thought I'd had that yarn for, or if I've got the yarn and I know that I've got, I don't know, 1,500 meters of it, I'll then write adult garment or whatever's on there. So then that way I've got an idea that, you know, it's like your own personalized yarn store. If I want to go and start a project, I can go in and go, oh yeah, that's enough for a baby's garment, or that's enough for this, or what have you. And yeah, I hate playing yarn chicken. I hate it.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I've always been an extra ball minimum person.
Yeah.
For all reasons. One, while I have a small torso, I have very long arms. It takes a lot of extra yarn to make sleeves longer. I think that is a big misconception. Sleeves are basically 3 hats worth of yarn for every sleeve that you make. So I think it's really important to do that. As far as stashing yarn correctly, we actually here at Outlaw just had a How to Build Your Stash seminar about a month ago. So all of our HQ customers who are also being directed towards the Epic sale have been taught how to plan the correct amount of yardage averagely for each sweater type. And remember, whenever you're looking at a pattern, when you see cables or texture, you need to add 10% more yarn. So if you're buying extra, make sure that you're buying 30%. Oh, pardon me. Sorry about that. Just a little phone call coming through. I might just have to, I'm so sorry. I have to step away.
You jump off, and I will do some more housekeeping, and I'll see you in a moment.
I'll be right.
Don't you love technology? He'll be back in a sec. Yes, he's right. You've definitely got to be able to I'll just do that. There we go, so we don't need any more of that. You've got to build that contingency in. I can't honestly stress it enough. I mean, so much. All your regulars in the speakeasy will know how many times people have been on the lookout for something. And actually, I was talking to, I'm going to talk to Ethan about this. Actually, this might be a tool that I think collaboratively we might pull together. I've been talking to the team here about creating a table, just a rough, and I know I've seen others out there, just a rough rule of thumb of how many balls or how many meters that you need to make any sort of given project. And as Ethan said, you need to add a minimum of 10% if you're working on cables and ribbing. Garter stitch, you've got, if you're doing a project entirely in garter stitch, and garter stitch is quite on point at the moment, particularly those big oversized sweaters, and you see a lot of garter stitch out there. Garter stitch, you've got to add nearly 30% contingency for garter stitch. It's incredibly yarn hungry, and when you think about it, it is actually a fully reversible double backed fabric, so that's why you need to do that. So it is just about being prepared, and you know, it's something that I do it all the time. Now look, don't get me wrong, I do have those moments where, and I'm just going to jump this out because I know that's going to send off a notification. I do have moments where I will see something, I think, oh, I'm going to knit that. I don't knit it to a pattern, and I will wing it. But you know what? I also don't get particularly precious as well. If I do run out of something, instead of trying to dig around and find that yarn, I will actually go through, and that's where I start adding colours into stripes or putting things in there. I refuse to get my feathers fluffed because I've lost a yarn chicken. So definitely get some preparedness. Right, while Ethan's off doing his thing, I'm going to show you a couple of my little projects just to fill you in where I'm at. I'm going to wait for the cabled one till he gets back because I know he's got one. But I have actually not done anything. I think I've only done a couple of rows on the sleeve actually since I saw you last. But I've been doing this. I actually haven't done a massive amount of knitting because I've been so full on. But I just wanted to show you this. This is this little baby item I was telling you the other day that I was working on. I like to call it my kimono because it's like a little kimono. And I've been doing a little bit of work on that, and it's actually been really, really lovely. Really, really lovely. So that is fun. So, oh, hold on, he's back. Let's see. There we go. You're back. Hold on. Boom. There you are.
Sorry, everybody. In a time of COVID, sometimes people call it weird times.
No, that's all right. I just was showing everybody this. I've been doing a little baby project. So speaking about yarn chicken before, this is made out of sort of scraps and bits that I've got. I call it my kimono. It's like just a little kimono-y type cardigan. Yeah.
That's so cute.
And it is really cute. And that's what I've been working on actually the last couple of days because I've needed something really stress-free.
Yeah.
But I'll throw that in there. Okay, tapestry. Last time we spoke, you were madly going through the body on your tapestry. You had sleeves, you had everything there. You were just about to finish it off.
I'm going to just push this back a little bit.
Yeah.
Because no matter what I do, it's impossible to see. Just so everyone at home knows, you won't be able to see the whole thing on camera no matter what I do. I would need...
I've not seen it. I've only seen it in its component parts. So.
I would need like an airplane hanger to show it off properly.
So now tapestry, this is part of your knitting through the Brooklyn Tea Winter 15 collection, is that right?
Yes. It is. So this is arguably the most difficult one. Mm-hmm. So for those of you who know me at all as a knitter, I tend to, well, what I used to do is I actually every year used to set a sweater goal. So I would pick the number of jerseys I wanted to make in a year, and then I would create like a master plan for how to knit them all inside of a specified timeline. So many, many moons ago, Brooklyn Tweed released their Winter 2015 collection, which was the first collection with their final lineup of designers before team members started to leave. They've since dissolved the design team, sadly. I personally am of the opinion that it represents the greatest collection of knitting ever done, period. It was 5 of the best designers in knitting at the time, at the very peak of their creative talents. Mm-hmm. And they were all given access to a private tour of the Met, the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. Mm-hmm. While I hate New York,
the Met is one of its jewels.
I love the Met.
Yeah, so do I.
The Met is amazing. So inside of the Met, there is an entire wing devoted to medieval tapestries and Japanese tapestries and weaving. And the great and wonderful Veronique Avery was inspired by them to create a jacquard style knit. So jacquard is a French style of color work that has really fallen out of favor because it involves teeny tiny motifs, much like Fair Isle, but repeated in sequence and then inverted and then repeated in sequence again. So she created the tapestry jacket based off of a Japanese tapestry shape, colors from a British tapestry from the same time period, and then applied it to the French jacquard knitting technique. And then she made it steeked and she gave it a beautiful facing. And so it looks a little something like this when it's finished.
Oh my Lord, that is absolutely stunning.
So
wow.
In the original sample, the colors are done.
I'm just going to make me small and you big so we can get the full effect. There we go.
So in the original sample, oh, hello. In the original sample, the colors are reversed from this one. So it is a dark background with light and bright colors. Mm-hmm. What I have done is switched to a light background color and done bright and dark finishes. So where there were greens in the pattern, I replaced it with blues. Where there was black, I made cream. And where there was cream, I made pink. And so it just created this beautiful overall effect. What I will say is the knitting in this garment, and this is a little bit counterintuitive, the knitting in this garment is not particularly difficult, okay? So what I mean by that is the colorwork chart is very easy to memorize. The floats are short, so you never need to be trapping your floats or doing anything else like that.
Yeah.
There is some technical difficulty involved in the fact that I'm going to hold this up nice and close to the camera. Yeah. There are purled stitches in various combinations. So this is actually a 3-color row where you're purling with the contrast color 2 and knitting with contrast color 1 and knitting with the background color. So you're working 3 colors at once. This row you are purling with the contrast color, so it brings forward the previous row's main color. And then these rows, you're purling the contrast color on the second pass with the main color, okay? And it gives it that beautifully blended, textured effect from a distance that makes some of these look feathery and some of them look bold and graphic, right?
Yeah, it creates like almost like an optical illusion.
Yes, it does. It does actually make, and it's interesting because in movement, on camera, you can see that as it moves around, it almost blurs visually. It's quite interesting what she's done here. The thing that I think is really important for everyone to remember is average finishing time for this is roughly 5 months. I did everything in 36 days because I have a problem. Now, what is daunting about this project, everyone, is the sheer volume of knitting. This is the 48 size, which means that with the fronts overlapping, which have this beautiful, kind of difficult to show, but it has a very deep V-neck into a flat front. So there's a huge amount of shaping that goes on. You're also doing shaping around the armholes. These are not just straight up and down drop shoulders. They are actually a fitted set-in sleeve. And the garment fits at the shoulder, and then it hangs open all the way down. You can belt it, you could pin it, you could do lots of stuff with it. I just kind of wear it open. I've actually been wearing it. Wore it to the opera, shocker. The part about this that is most challenging, except for the sheer volume of knitting, is the finishing, okay?
Yeah.
This garment requires a huge amount of finishing, and none of this is incorporated, okay? So when I mean none of this is incorporated, what you are doing is you are picking up in one continuous motion 780 stitches for this size. If you have done everything properly, you will be able to pick up every 4 and 5 rows along the front and get the exact number of stitches you should. If you have not, it will not work. You need to be extremely conscious of your row gauge with this pattern. And you need to be extremely conscious of where everything is happening.
Yeah. So that's a 1x1 rib with a tubular cast off?
No. So this is where the nightmare actually begins.
Yeah.
Is a stockinette. You go down the needle size. It's a stockinette facing like an old school Swedish facing. So
with a dark fold line.
Yeah, you knit upwards. You do a purled turning row.
Yeah.
And then you sew each individual stitch down to the picked up stitch on the inside.
You know,
and you do that starting at this.
So for anybody that's watching, if you're looking at that going, oh, I've done that on a couple of projects. I know, as Ethan said, it's a lot of work, but it is so worth it.
It is so worth it. I have to say, there are projects I have done where they are a lot of work. Yeah. And because all of them have been from certain designers, not a single project I've ever finished hasn't felt worth it. Nothing has ever felt as worthwhile as this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. And you can see that it just creates this beautiful edge that continues all the way around the garment.
Yeah. It's almost like a tailored finish. It's almost like a sewing technique as opposed to a
this has much more in common with sewing, I think, as a project than it does with knitting. So any sewists out there who are watching, this will feel very familiar to you. And it even does it all the way around the bottom hem also.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I'm going to angle the camera so I can stand up, and I'm going to move my...
Everyone is screaming for you to put it on.
Yeah. I'm just going to use the door to orient myself. So I'm just going to pop it on quickly over top of the other 8 things that I'm wearing.
Because the sweater that you're already wearing, that's from the same collection, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So Agnes is also from Brooklyn Tweed Winter 2015. And I actually normally wear this with my chain link underneath.
Yeah.
So this is what it is. So it has the, here we go, back into camera frame. Yeah. So it has these big, deep V fronts. fronts that fold over each other to give this all-over effect. The hems hang down quite beautifully. It's very comfortable to wear, to be honest. And it fits, as I said, through the shoulder and then just hangs everywhere else.
Now, see that through, actually spin back round for me again. See that fit through the shoulder, is that shows you, you know, how important that set-in shoulder is. I mean, that fit is absolutely gorgeous. But the other nice thing about that being a swing front too is, I mean, at a 48, you know, that's actually from a sizing perspective, you can wear it oversized and have it wrapped. But if you're a bit bigger, you could actually just wear it open. But as long as that shoulder is fitting, I think you're going to be,
And it layers extremely well over other pieces of knitwear.
Yeah.
I think that's what I want to really make a point of with this garment is I'm going to frequently wear it with another piece of knitwear underneath. And because of the way I plan my knitted wardrobe, even though this is hand dyed by Jo Arnott using her natural dyeing techniques, because of the way I plan my wardrobe, all of it actually goes together. To make it really cohesive finished. So I do rate this pattern. I would give it a 10 out of 10 for clarity of instruction. I'm in the middle of knitting the facings for the inside so that I can wear it fully reversed. So I was
just about to ask that. Have you done the facings for around the sleeves?
No, because I haven't quite worked out which way is best yet. I actually emailed Veronique because she's off of all social media now, but the inside has turned out so beautiful. I want to be able to show it.
But you could also do I would have thought that you could, it's a matter of, do you pick up the stitches in and around that sleeve facing and then do the similar sort of technique where you're knitting a stocking stitch main colour, and then, hold on, I'll just jump back up, a stocking stitch main colour and then grafting that background, or because that would work, but it
would. My thought is to reduce bulk, to actually knit a 6-stitch wide stockinette panel and just whip stitch it down using invisible whip stitch, which is where you whip stitch from the wrong side and then pull tight. So those stitching curls underneath just to hold everything in, because it's so structurally sound. From the woolen spun yarn, the 2 blockings it's gone through, and the steeking, because I reinforced the steeks using Garthenor #1, which is a organic woolen spun lace weight yarn, which also had the benefit of being bright cream because it was shiny, so you could really see it while you were cutting, which blessing. So I'm just really excited. It was such a cool project. It's been on my list for 5 years. Finishing it felt amazing. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little worried I would look like an Easter egg.
Definitely not. Definitely.
No, but it's turned out super sophisticated and very, very fun.
Well, see, I can even see that underneath your yeshu. You know, I mean, it's just, you know, the whole thing, and you could dress it. I mean, it is such a statement piece on its own. I also love that sort of kimono 3/4 sleeve, because it allows you to do layering and amazing. Okay, so that's definitely coming up to Wellington, because I have to see that in person. Right, I'm going to show you what I'm working on, and you'll be impressed that, because for me, I've actually, because you know how I am quite a lazy knitter in the sense that I, you know, like to keep my life simple. So I've decided to, I've been telling everyone for the last sort of 2 weeks, that I've decided to knit the BFF a sweater for his birthday, which is towards the end of next month. And he's only been hinting for me to do this for the last decade. So great friend I am. So I'm finally getting around to it. So like you, I went through everything. I looked at some Brooklyn tweed. I looked at a whole bunch of things, and I knew exactly what I wanted for him, but I couldn't quite find the right thing. And then I had the big light bulb eureka moment, because I had, when I cleared magazines out years ago, I had kept some magazines because they were the ones that had almost, you know, most of the magazine. I'm like, oh, I'd knit that, I'd knit that, I'd knit that, I'd knit that, and so forth. So for me, that was interweave, blast from the past. I know. So I've got both the spring and winter collection of 2017. I've got the winter one in there as well. Were exceptional, particularly for really classic knits and a lot of masculine knits. And so this one had quite a nautical theme, and this is what I'm knitting.
Ooh, that is fun.
Yeah, and so Point Judith pullover, Josie Mercier, and the thing is that I wanted cables, but I just didn't want a classic rope cable. I wanted something with a little bit more zing to it, and that's got that lovely offset braid. Absolutely, and a wee herringbone. So, and of course, I wanted an excuse to use our.
No.
I know. So. And I went, so what I've gone and done is I have done a size, he's actually a 41, and it's not done with a massive amount of positive ease, and I wanted to give him a little bit more ease in there. So I've actually gone from the DK up to the 10-ply weight, and I've worked out that that's going to probably give me an extra inch of ease.
Ooh, so, Mama cracking out the straight needles.
I know, look at these, and I'm going to show you these. Look.
Are those Brittany? Oh no!
Mama got her own needles.
Oh my god!
I know. Sorry, if anyone noticed my face a little bit before when Nathan was doing his thing, and it's now just started, you'll hear it on camera, on microphone. There was a massive thunder roll that was here about 60 seconds ago, and that's why I was sort of like this, and now the heavens have just opened up. So if you hear this strange static, it's not static, it's actually the rain on the roof. Okay. Crazy. So this is where I'm at. I've got a little series of repeats before I start. This is the sleeve. Start shaping the sleeve top. And as I mentioned on Monday to everybody, I went through and unfortunately I put the diary in the other room. I do a sort of a shorthand. I know you do a similar thing. I do a shorthand where I write out all my rows. Because I have changed the gauge on this because of the sizing that I've wanted, I've actually worked out where the length that I need, and so I actually won't be doing quite as many repeats as what is written in the pattern, and I will actually show you guys that probably next week or when I get to that point. But I'm about to start doing that shaping, and I have to say it's been ages since I've done a full all over Aran pattern, and I forgot how much I enjoyed it.
I love it.
Oh, because and as I was saying, and your tapestry is the same. You and I have talked about this in private conversations again and again. And I know the number of people that say to you and say to me, oh gosh, I could never do that, or that seems too much. But the trick is you break it down, don't you? Yeah. And you just do it one bite at a time.
Yeah. If anyone wants to go on to my Ravelry, I'm EVE Forever. I have made several all over cabled raglans, including Radmere by Michelle Wang. Ooh. Probably one of the most aggressive cabled cardigans ever designed. It's actually a warm-up because I'm going to be making the full-length women's version for myself that comes down to the ankle.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't resist a big knit. I can't lately.
Yeah. I'm just thoroughly enjoying it. I really, really am enjoying it. So I sort of, and I've had that wee baby knit that I bounced in between, but it's actually really comforting, and it's not difficult. And so, for anybody out there that is something difficult, you need to have a big talking to yourself, because it's not. We're here to tell you it's not.
I have 2 projects on the go. Which is normal for me. I usually try to have 2 jerseys and 1 accessory happening at once. By the end of this week, and my face that I just made there is because I'm actually going to be up to 4 jerseys and nothing else by the end of this week, because one of the funny things about working in the industry is sometimes, even when you're busy, you have to cast on things you don't want to or don't have time for. But my current 2 projects are bringing me quite a bit of joy, for 2 very, very different reasons. I am doing something I almost never do. I am knitting top down. I am knitting with hand-dyed yarn. And I am knitting a raglan.
And that's what you've got at the moment that you're doing right there?
Right now, what I'm knitting, for the first time in ages, I dropped a stitch. So this is yarn from the wonderful Alice, Bleeding Art, who's not going to be dyeing very frequently anymore, as we know, but I received this from her last batch as a Christmas gift from Deb. Actually, everyone on staff got Bleeding Art yarn for Christmas, which is
Chapter. There we go.
Pretty great. So I am making the Piece of Silver Pullover by Vera Valimaki, which is a turtleneck, surprising no one who knows me. It has just some really great short row shaping at the top, and then it has this really beautiful but subtle raglan detail where you have a 6-stitch raglan panel you increase on either side of. I have done what I usually do with these top-down knits, and I have gone up a size and down a needle size. So I'm knitting something that gives me more ease than I need, but gone down a full needle size to a 3.5 millimeter needle because I find that the treated superwash yarns, people are knitting them at these very large gauges, and it's not going to last, and I don't like the finished look of the fabric. They look a little, you remember those drapes that all of our grandmothers had in their kitchens? That were
just look sloppy.
Yeah, it looks like net almost. Yeah. I don't want that. So I've dropped down the gauge, so it's quite dense. It is beautifully hand-dyed and speckled. It's in all shades of creamy cotton candy pink. It's got that big high neck. I am lucky that I can wear super high necks because I have a jaw. This is all genetic, just for the record. Let's be clear here. Thank you to my mother for her great work. I am actually a rather petite person. So normally I actually get away with making the smallest or second smallest size of most patterns. I just add length at the arms. So with this one, I am lengthening the body and the arms because it's meant to be cropped. I don't do crops. I'm not a huge fan of crops on anyone, just as a side note, but especially not on me. I'm adding full length sleeves to it, and I'm actually going to decrease in the cuffs. What I'm doing right now is I'm just finishing the ball of yarn that I've attached to the body, and then I'm going to go back and knit both sleeves because that's what I like to do because you can actually get a much more accurate idea of body length that way. But I am, not to say surprised, but I always forget because I usually knit from 50-gram balls. I forget how far 100-gram skein of superwash yarn really goes. Yeah. This is only 1.5 skeins so far, and that's how much of the jersey I have done. Now, I am making the medium 1. If you purchase this pattern, there's a medium 1 and a medium 2. I am making the medium 1, and I'm down a needle size. This will loosen when it's blocked, and it will grow a little bit. So please don't worry, and don't assume if you're smaller than me, you can steal it. This will fit me. I've done this before. I've actually made this pattern before. So I made my mom one in Mad Tosh Toshmo Light in the Patagonia colorway. So her and I are going to have matching jerseys when this is done. She doesn't know I'm making this, so I'm going to show it to her on North American Mother's Day so that we have matching jerseys. I thought it would be a fun surprise. I am also knitting something that is going to look like absolutely nothing on camera. I should just warn everyone now. Luckily, I, for once, printed out a photo of what I'm making. Oh, God. Okay, I printed out a photo, and then I lost the photo. Here we go. I printed out the photo that has the 2 details of what I'm making. So I'm going to show you some pieces, and you're going to be like, well, that's a black hole on camera. It is. Get over it. So I am making another raglan. What? But this is knit flat and seamed upwards from the bottom. This is Michelle Wang's Hellbore pullover, which is from Brooklyn Tweed 2013.
Oh, retro practically.
Yeah, no, I mean, by modern knitting standards, super retro. And I am knitting this in black. So this is some 4-ply yarn on a 3.25 millimeter needle in jet black.
You know, but I've got the thing is, I mean, knitting black can be challenging, particularly when you can't see. However, I've got a black shawl that a scarf, and it is the #1 thing that I wear all the time.
Absolutely. Black fine knit objects are by far the most versatile piece you can throw into your wardrobe. And this, just to be clear, this is a lot of plain stockinette because the front and the back are plain stockinette in jet black, okay? That's a lot to get through. It took me roughly a week and a half to get through all of it. And I did a fun little folded hem on the bottom, which is difficult to see. It's really curious because it's very striking in person. You can actually see all the detail and stuff. It just does not show up on camera. But Hellbore has a super fun feature. The reason that the back and front are so plain is because the sleeve, this is sleeve 1, You can see that it looks like there's something going on with it. It's because it's entirely cabled. I don't think it will show up no matter what I do. Oh, there we go.
Go. Keep it right there.
There we go.
Wow.
So it is entirely cabled in very intricate, teeny tiny Aran cables. So you're cabling on every single right side row. There's no rest to it. It is a 40 row repeat of 84 stitches. And spoiler alert, I already have it memorized. So that is the sleeve. So it's a lot of intricacy. There's no way around it. This is a quick photo of what it looks like done in cream, which is just not really my thing. And you can see the beautiful cable detail on the sleeve that in person is going to have a lot of impact and dimensionality with this pattern, even in black, but it may not appear very much on camera ever, which is okay, because I'm not knitting for people, I'm knitting for me.
Yeah, fair enough. Well,
yes.
I've got a little finished item to show you, which isn't mine, but it is the lovely Kirsty, who works in our shop, and she has knitted the chunky cardigan from Petite Knits, but I wanted to show it to you because she's done it as a full male, and it's done, and I'm just going to, yeah, there we go, and she just finished this last night, so she's got buttons on it, but it's
so cool.
Oh yeah, and she's done it using the vintage, because she was wanting to use something with the vintage. So the vintage Aran with actually this the Vivienne mohair that we've had.
Ooh.
Any lace weight mohair, and so this one, yeah, as I said, is Petite Knits, and she absolutely loves it. She said it's so snuggly. She knows that it's going to be her go-to piece. But I'm glad you brought up Vera Valimaki, because she also does one, and I think it's called not old school, it is called chunky. I think hers might even be called the chunky cardigan as well, actually. I've got a funny feeling. And she does one, and it's the same concept where you're double stranding ones together. And I'm bringing this up because in the newsletter that I'm sending out, one of the
think something's going on with your mic. Oh, there it goes.
There we go. Am I back? Is that better?
Oh, no, it seems to be very enraged.
Is that stopped?
No. Sorry, everyone. Just give us a moment. Technical difficulties. Oh. Ooh.
Okay. Try.
There we go.
Is that better?
Much better.
Okay. I've unplugged the big mic and I've just moved to the one in here.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Is that better, everybody?
Here we go.
There we go. Cool. All right. Sorry about that. I actually moved the mic slightly and it obviously got very grumpy. So there we go. Okay. Where was I? Yes, I know I'm now streaming using the default microphone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Internet.
Thank you, Internet. So this is one of the ranges that we are doing for, especially for the sale. And I'm going to pull, I'm going to see if I can get as many of these on fingers as I can. We have done a selection of kid mohair with a little hint of Polworth, actually, to help keep it all together.
Is that a black I see?
No, it's a very, very dark plum. And
plum.
Oh, there it is over there. Hold on. Oh, my goal of not knocking anything off the table has now not happened, but I have a very dark grey. So
some of that will be coming back with Miss Deb for me. That'd be great.
So there you go, to go with it. So that we've done, so these colours, if you're wondering about the colours and where the colours came from, there we go, is that we've gone and modelled the colours off the Sock Mortician colours. And we've done that so you can actually pair these back with Sock Mortician yarns. But I did a roam around the shop this morning because most of these colours will actually tone back with a whole bunch of other colours if you want them the same. So this is it is a fine lace, the very, let me get my finger under it so I can show you. It is a very, very fine, there you go,
Amazing.
lace float mohair. And we've gone and done that so you can actually double strand it back with any thickness that you want. And I even just grabbed, like I did a quick grab of so the Cascade lace.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I know. So, and then that charcoal that we had before. So there are a whole heap of options, and in the newsletter today, that I think I've got it. I actually wrote it yesterday, and I've got it scheduled to come out this afternoon. I've gone and put some suggestions. So Love Note's the obvious one. Pink Fizz, which is the new Angela Maree, that's another one. But there are a whole bunch of different things you come, and then there's, you always have one road color.
I think I would really like people to consider the fact that Jacqueline Sislak's new book. Oh my God, yes. Oh.
I know Helen Williams will get very excited about that.
That's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
She's going to be covered in it. She's just going to, I think Helen might make a whole dress. Not that I'm hinting, but Helen.
This color is Helen Williams, and it's actually appearing yellower there. It's actually quite sort of, it's got quite an orange tinge to it, yeah.
The other thing is, for any of you who have been looking at some of those Stephen West patterns, like Moharino Medley, any of the Flying Fox patterns, and you've been thinking to yourself, wow, that brush suri is beautiful, but it's so hard to get in different colors. Yeah. You can substitute that for that mohair lace held double.
Yes.
So, like, if you've been looking at any of those brush suri alpaca patterns, and you've been struggling to find a color you love, I personally, if you can't find a color you love from that collection, we can't help you. But anything that you've been wanting to substitute for.
Helen, wow, I love it. Oh, see, yes! Helen, we knew you would love it. We knew you would love it. Yes, you're right. And so this is where you guys are going to go, what? So this is a 50-gram ball, right? 454 meters in here. This for Epic sale is going out at, I think it's either $4.95. I think it's $4.95 a ball. It's like insanely priced.
Take 10.
Insanely priced. So it is
what I need, Maree, more yarn.
I know. Now, before you all go, oh, you're only doing that. We have got, so what had happened is that we had originally made this for our Whisper range, and there ended up being, it was actually an issue with the blend. They had the fiber blend. So this yarn has been redone with a high proportion of kid in it. This ended up having too much wool. So the good news is that don't panic, a fine lace weight mohair from us is still coming. And in fact, it's actually been spun and it's just going to be dyed. And we've got a full range of colours coming in that different to these. So this was sort of take one, and once we realized that, we just threw these colors over the top, and we thought these will make a perfect sale yarn, get everyone really excited about knitting with this super fine mohair. And then you can actually run out like the other, like Elton, there's a go, that's another one from
yes, with that.
Yeah, there's so many of those patterns.
Honestly, so many of those patterns from Lina that were so difficult to substitute yarns for.
Yeah.
This is your time to jump on it. And as everyone knows, I like to wait until a trend is about 8 years old before I do it. So I'm now ready to knit with mohair again. I think I'm ready to forgive some shocking Rowan experiences from the past. We've all been down the Kid Silk road. You know, when you do you remember back in the day, there was this Kid Silk Haze pattern that was like on a giant needle, and it was just like a neck cowl. And every time you would pull it off, you would literally have like Kid Silk Haze nose drippings, and you'd be like,
yeah.
But I think it's time. I personally love the feeling that I would love a nice tight gauge mohair and merino held double situation.
Well, fancy you should mention that. Here's one I prepared earlier. So I showed you the chunky cardigan before. This is the same stuff. So this here is Bohemia Sport in London town with 6mm needle, Bohemia Sport with that fine mohair. So that's what that looks like with Sport. But what Ethan, I think, is talking about, this is Orb Fine. So
Yeah.
this is a standard 4-ply 4mm needle, and see, look at that.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you get this fantastic fabric. And there you go. You can see just see the halo
Yeah.
on there. And for me, I'm with you. This for me is the win. And I think Angela Maree's done that with her Pink Fizz. See, even Love Note. So like with Love Note, they suggest a 4mm 4-ply fingering weight yarn with that lace weight knitted in 6mm needle. Look, honestly, everybody, I would be doing a DK weight yarn with the Kidmo here and knitting it on a 6mm needle. You concur?
I agree. I mean, I am a dense gauge knitter. I'm primarily a garment knitter. As you can see, I'm knitting something on a 3.25mm needle with 4-ply single that's cabled. Let's just remember that. I'm also knitting this on a 3.5mm needle where it's meant to be on a 4 or a 3.75. I think that there's so much benefit to a nice dense gauge. We are not making things, this isn't fast fashion. We want things that are going to last. And the beautiful thing about yarn is you control the fabric you produce. So at the end of the day, we are kind of our own fabric store for the garments that we're making. I'm not sure if I should, do you guys want a little sneak peek of something that is yarn you can't have?
Yeah, totally. Go on.
So I am about to cast on another Fox Thoughts.
Oh, no, hold on. I've got that here.
Oh, perfect. So I worked on the Fox Thoughts pullover and cardigan with the amazing designer, Hiroko Payne, who, spoiler alert, is a friend. And I knit one of the original kits. It's from the last issue of Pom Pom. Yes, that one. So I'm going to be making myself a second one, and my yoke colors have arrived.
Oh, look at those, very you.
And
shocker,
main body color has arrived as well.
Oh, so now is that a very dark?
It is the most profound blue you could imagine.
Yeah.
And this is, of course, in the Le Bien-Aimé Helix base, because I am, as the French say, le spoiled. And I get the yarn I want. Welcome to the world of Ethan. So I have a big bag of Le Bien-Aimé to be casting on with this week, but this is knit at a dense gauge. This is 2 strands of light fingering held double on a 3.75mm needle. So this thing is going to last and be beautiful. Because my first one, I have worn it to death, as you know, and it has not pilled in the slightest.
Now, but also too, your first one had the extra colors in it. It was what, 13?
Oh, so I'm actually doing a modified version of that yoke. So I'm actually adding 4 more colors to my yoke.
Oh, of course you are.
Now it's going to have 16.
Oh. Of course you are.
And I'm calling my new yoke. The original is Kitsune, which means fox spirit. And the new one is Kitsune Furo, which means fox fire. Get excited. And just like, I think this is the thing is like people, like I'm going to be casting on that this week. I'm also teaching a class on steeking here at Outlaw HQ coming up near the end of the month. As you know, I do quite a bit of teaching. I've really changed how we're doing classes here at Outlaw HQ so that people can have more access to them. They're bite-sized, they're 1 hour, you come in, they're in an evening. So it actually works, you know, because like, let's face it, no one has the time to sit for 3 hours and listen to me talk. You might pass out unless you're at Cannes, in which case you have no choice. Welcome to the party. So I have gotten my copy of Lina issue 10 out. And because I need to do something that's going to be relatively speedy, but I also need to do something that steaks, I am going to make the Selly cardigan.
Oh, and you'll be able to do that in the Rebel, I would have thought.
Oh my goodness, I have some color choices that I prepared earlier. You notice it looks a lot like my color choices from my other garment. Because you know what? You don't actually have to knit things in colors you don't love. You can just keep knitting with the stuff you like. That's my secret.
Yeah, and you do look, and I have to admit, it's really funny. I'm the same. I keep going back to favourites all the time, and I keep looking like, oh, I can't knit another pink whatever, or purple, whatever. And then I think, well, yeah, I can. So I will. Yeah.
My eye color broken up into 3 different yarns, and I'm just going to knit myself yet another pattern in it. And like, I'm really enjoying the advent of great knitting magazines again.
Yeah.
I think that Pom Pom is one of those ones where it's very hit or miss, not going to lie. For me, the next issue, bit of a miss, so we're not carrying it here at Outlaw HQ. Full disclosure, I'm a very honest consumer. I don't want to look like I quilted my garments together. No, thank you. I'm not into the Holly Hobby knits. So I love how polished and cool this issue of Lina is. I love it.
Very natural. I mean, it felt very natural. Like it felt, and very. I mean, they were knits too that I felt would resonate with New Zealanders as well. It's very, in terms of the outdoors and stuff. So yeah, I love that issue. And is it in here? If I got it sitting in here, the girl and the other liner one that I loved, and no, I can't find it straight off the top of my head, was the one that, of course, featured the, was it Kate or Georgie?
Oh, yes, by Libby.
Yeah, by Libby. It was just absolutely.
That is number 4.
Yes, I've got that one here too. Now, before we head off, because I'm just very aware of the time, we just, as I said, Epic Sale starts on Saturday, but we do actually have yarn from Outlaw, just so you're aware. So everything from Outlaw is going to be 10% off. However, there are some super specials within the range. So we've got 2 shades within Sock Bandit, which are going to be going out, I think, at $9.95, or even less actually. We've also got in Bohemia Sport, we've got Tarnished, Spellbound, Gaslight, and Kelmscott, all going to be $9.95. So definitely snap those up. Brambleberry and Ebony in worsted are also going to be on super special as well. So if you have been wanting to get some of those colours into stash, this is the time to do it, because those ones will be going out. And once they're gone, because they're going on hiatus, aren't they?
Yeah, so the colors that are going to be featured in the sale at those special prices are not going to be available from us here at Outlaw HQ any longer. So it's time for a change. It's time for some fresh, fun stuff. We are really excited about the new Bohemia palette and some new labels and some many other fun new things. Outlaw HQ, Outlaw as a company, as we all know, is just racing forward. Oh, Fleur, yes, it is actually by the creators, Cindy and Yana, pronounced Lina, because it is Finnish. What? But yes.
I think Lane, like Maine, is French. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, same word. It's a loan word from French into all of the Nordic languages. It still means wool, but it is pronounced Lina. And I am one of those monsters that says things like I hear them. I had the pleasure of meeting Cindy at TNNA one year. So that's when I heard it pronounced, after I called it Lane 3 times in front of her. Classic.
No, but I'm sure that they'll be used to that as well.
No, they're really lovely. That was actually the same one where I finally got to meet Stephen B., where he draped me in a shawl and told me I needed to knit with more color. And since then, I have knit with the same 3 colors.
I know. Stephen is just such a hoot. And actually, he's been doing, I spoke to him the other day. He's, because of course they've just gotten through such a really, really viciously cold winter over there.
Yes.
And, but he's been doing lots of work. I know he's been doing heaps of online classes. He has embraced the technology. Man, have I seen him come along leaps and bounds, because this was a guy that was sort of, he would struggle to drive a phone. So to see what he's managed to achieve since all the lockdowns has been pretty amazing. But he hasn't lost his flair and love for colour, which is certainly something that I share, because, as you know, I love to knit things with some pretty crazy colour. All right, everybody, we're not going to keep you any longer because it is lunchtime. And thank you very much, as always. With any luck, fingers crossed, we will get to see you at the end of the month. Fingers crossed. And if that happens, we might do a sneaky video while we're down in Wellington. But until then, I will see everybody tomorrow, and I'll give you, it'll just be a quick short video just to give you a rough sort of survival guide, as it were, to the epic sale, and then it will be all on for the next couple of weeks. So
my survival guide for the sale, buy by the bag.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, I'd love that. But until then, I will see you tomorrow. Thank you, Ethan, and take care, everybody.